That is weird. That's very weird. I feel like I did something wrong. So far it's acted like sugar, right? Oh, that is disgusting. The structure of sugar is completely different to this. A while ago, I watched an Red tutorial where he turned lead metal into lead sugar. Now that just begs the question, can you bake with it like it's real sugar, or does it act differently? So I have this science apparatus here that will make me my lead sugar, and then I will use the lead sugar I make with this to then make some brownies. And then we're gonna make another set of brownies with normal sugar and compare them. And we'll be doing 3 tests to pass. Does it bake like real sugar? Does it smell like real sugar? Or at least does it pass the smell test? And then third of all, does it look like a real brownie? Like, can you actually tell the difference basically? And then fourth of all, taste the brownie. Okay, we're not gonna taste the brownies because it's too toxic. Don't do this at home. Obviously, don't make lead brownies. Don't make lead infused brownies at home. That's a bad idea. So anyway, let me run you through this apparatus. This is a round bottom flask and I've put some lead chips in it that I've cut up with some little metal shears. And this liquid you see right here is vinegar. It's 2 times strength vinegar, 8% acetic acid. Now that's basically full to the brim. Now at the moment it's not reacting at all, but if I add H2O2 through the top, it's gonna start reacting and oxidizing the lead. And when it's an oxide coating on the lead, that's when the vinegar can start reacting with it. And that's when it forms lead acetate and oxygen bubbles, which makes this bubble a lot and foam over and heat up. A lot of stuff happens. So what I do is I turn on this pump here because it gets really hot and you can see the water level rising. And that's just cold water going up to prevent the reaction from going out of control. This setup, it's just too small for my needs. It's based on Red's method, but he used a much more concentrated liquid of acetic acid, and I have 8%, which is very dilute. It just bubbles up and foams all over the place. So we're gonna do my own method to making lead sugar. Let's go do that. So let's start with my method, an induction hot plate. This is gonna be way faster than the heating mantle. I thought it was very fitting to use cookware for a video about making brownies. So we're gonna be cooking the lead chips in 1.5 liters of vinegar. So what I have is this double strength vinegar. It's 8% acetic acid. It's the strongest I could get. And what I'm gonna do is fill this up with half a liter into this induction hot plate. So let's turn this on. Let's get the function going. So that's getting heated up. While that's heating up, I'm gonna be pouring another half liter of vinegar. There we go. So now that's a full liter, and then to top it off one more time, I have another half liter of vinegar. We've got a huge excess of vinegar, and that's because it's such a dilute amount of acetic acid in there. So just get rid of that. And now let's pour in our lead chips. There we go. Lovely. Next step is we're gonna be adding 50% hydrogen peroxide to this. 50% is way over what you will generally need for something like this. I just happen to have it. I don't know how I got this. A lot of people question me on this because it's not technically the most easily legal thing to have. But we're not gonna get into that how I got it. Let's just use it anyway. Usually the pharmacy and like chemists will have like 3%. This is 50%. Rocket fuel is 90%. So it's like, it's kind of in between rocket fuel and like home use. But this will be okay. This will be okay for now. It's safe. So I'm gonna just pipette a little bit of this into a beaker. Here we go. So it is a bit ridiculous for me to use this as a stock. If I poured this straight in, it would be a complete nightmare. So I'm just gonna be pipetting some of this stuff into a separate beaker so that I can then pipette from the beaker into there a bit more easier. And this is already starting to boil up basically. So my goal is to add about 15 milliliters worth of hydrogen peroxide into this every 5 minutes. And you can see as I'm shooting it in, it's starting to turn white. That is the hydrogen peroxide turning lead into lead oxide, and then lead acetate with the vinegar reacting with that. There we go. It's very white now. Now this is already kind of gonna be over bubbling a bit. We'll have to see how it performs. It might foam up, so I'm gonna have to turn this down and try to keep this at a stable temperature of 80 degrees Celsius. And then in 5 minutes time, we're gonna come back to it. So at this point, every 5 minutes, my goal is to add 15 milliliters worth of H2O2 to this. And as I do that, after about 30 minutes or so, I should no longer feel these little bumps of like lead metal in the pan. It should all basically dissolve away and completely get removed. And now the last ingredient to add is of course GamerSup's Guacamole 9000. Sorry, GamerFart 9000. And yeah, we'll just add this in, just to add a bit more flavor to it, to the brownies. That'll be nice. Use code GREENENERGY at checkout for 10% off on your next order. So it's been around 10 minutes now, so I'm just adding this H2O2 very slowly as I'm mixing it in. That way it mixes in properly, it doesn't just all boil off. It just lets the reaction happen a bit more smoothly, essentially, if I just do it slowly, drop by drop. Here we go, okay, it's really starting to foam up now. And now we'll check back later when this is complete. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes now. I can't really feel any lead down there anymore. It feels mostly smooth with my hand in the stir rod. So I think it's all basically dissolved, but to be able to see in there properly, or at least a little bit better, I have this isopropyl alcohol. I'm just gonna, there you go, spray it, and it basically gets rid of the bubbles because of the surface tension. You see, it's still bubbling, but I think we're okay. So now comes the time for us to boil all of this solution back down till it's basically a sugar. So let's turn this back on. Let's go 80 degrees Celsius and just see if it starts boiling, because it's still probably a bit exothermic. There's some hydrogen peroxide in there. That stuff's gonna boil out or bubble out before the water can actually boil and the vinegar. So it might just start kind of bubbling and foaming over. So I've got this fan right here. It's not a strong fan, but it's just enough to pop the bubbles a bit, kind of take that heat away and take the moisture away to dry it out faster. We're just gonna let this sit for a bit until it starts boiling down and reducing into basically a sugar of lead. Okay, so it's been about half an hour, and as you can see, it's reduced down a lot. It's also become a little brown, and you might be able to see little specks of lead in there. Right now, it looks like there's still water in it, but actually lead acetate, if this is all just lead acetate now, is actually molten, which looks like it's just like a dirty kind of liquid. But if I move it around a bit, with a bit of wind, it should solidify. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see crystals forming. So it's right at the melting point of lead acetate, which is about 75 degrees Celsius, which means any moment now it could freeze solid. I think it's starting to thicken up. It's kind of like sugar in a way. I guess it's like melted sugar. It's caramelized. That's the color of caramelized sugar, right? Okay, so now it has all been reduced down into I guess a sugar, if you can call it that. So this sugar right here is not technically sugar. It does taste sweet, but the structure of sugar is completely different to this. This is lead acetate, and this is the structure of sugar. It's not at all the same. So far it's acted like sugar, right? It got burnt by heating it up too high, which is what sugar does. It kind of thickened and caramelized like sugar. But the reason they call it a sugar is because I believe the ancient Romans came across it or made it by accident, and they made their cookware out of lead pots, specifically because the lead sugar that resulted in them making wine in those pots tasted sweet, or at least it was kind of used as a sweetener, maybe unintentionally by the Romans. But yeah, the Romans didn't exactly realize how toxic it was for them to be putting lead into their wine. Or I think they may have noticed a bit too late just how bad that is. Okay, so I just finished transferring all of my lead sugar into this beaker here, and it fills up to around 125 mils, or around 200 grams, hopefully, of lead acetate. So that's from 137 grams of lead metal to 200 grams of lead acetate. Now this is about half of what we need in total to be able to make the brownies. So before recording this video, I did another test and I didn't burn it. And this is pretty much the exact same amount, except a bit whiter and more pure looking. So we're gonna mix these two together to make a single, like 1 cup worth of lead acetate, hopefully, if that's what's actually here. So let's go and make some brownies and make a bit of a comparison test. So we've just come to the kitchen to make some of these brownies, and I'll have all of the ingredients in front of me right now. I'm just following some video I found on the internet on how to make brownies. I looked up easy brownie recipe, and this is where I arrived. So we have 2 bowls right here. This will be the normal sugar brownies, and this will be the lead sugar brownies. And because I don't want lead in this kitchen, because it will contaminate the place, I've decided to add the sugar ingredient last, once I've made all of the batter. So it's gonna deviate a little bit from the tutorial I've been following, but it should still work out, I think. So we're gonna start off by adding the oil. This is 3/4 cups of oil. That was 2, and that's 3. I'm gonna do the same on the left. It's 1, 2, and 3. So that's the oil done. Next on the list is 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So my vanilla extract, this is 1 teaspoon. It's 1, that's the second one for the other one, and then we do a half. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit extra. So now we have 2 eggs for each, and then do second egg in that bowl. And then we're gonna do the same thing again. 2 eggs in the right bowl and 2 eggs in the left bowl. So that, I think, is everything that needs to be done for the wet ingredients. Now to stir them, I'm just gonna use a whisk them together. That should take only a few seconds. There we go. That's all added nicely. Now usually there'd be sugar in this, I think. And I think that's because the sugar would dissolve easier. So the fact I'm adding the sugar later kind of means that it might not mix very well, but we'll have to see. At least it'll be an even test. They're both gonna be having the sugar added as a last step. So now that's all of the wet ingredients done. Now we're gonna do the dry ingredients. So to do that, I need 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. Let's call that 3/4 cups. I think it's close enough. But now, because I wanna do 2 batches of brownies, I gotta add the same thing to this bowl. So I'm just gonna double all the ingredients in this bowl here for the dry ingredients. Hopefully they'll all fit, surely they will. I just don't have another bowl, it's just gonna get messy. And then I've got 1/3 cup of cocoa powder as the next ingredient. It's gonna be so cursed. All right, so it said 3/4 of a cup of cocoa powder, so I guess I'm just gonna add a 1/4 cup. That's 2/4. This is a lot of chocolate. I didn't know brownies were so full of chocolate. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's 3/4. And I'm gonna do that again. I gotta do that again. So now I'll start from 1. That's 1. This is gonna go through the whole bag. That's 2. And then that's 3. Plus a little bit more, maybe. A 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. So just do half there. And then another half here. Hope I'm doing this right. And then 1/4 tablespoon of salt. I think that just makes, two quarters just make a half. So I guess I'll just fill this up with half of salt, right? Oh. There we go. It's kind of going all over the place. One ingredient I want to add right now is actually Red 40 by Gamer Subs. Next step is to just, oh God, spill it everywhere and then mix it. Oh, this actually smells nice. I can probably actually taste this without dying. I wouldn't recommend that. The Gamer Subs is great though. It's just solid cocoa powder in your mouth. It's not nice, even consistency of salt, cocoa powder, and flour, and whatever else I put in there. Now, the challenge now is going to be combining them together. And right now, I'm struggling with the problem of figuring out how to mix the things together without cross-contamination. So I have a scale right here, and I'm just going to pour all of this into a bowl. So now we just need to weigh out 189 grams. Let's go there. And that will be perfectly half. 140, 150, 180. Oh, let's get that 1 extra gram to be accurate. There you go, 189 grams, perfect. 189 grams is a perfectly half amount of the two mixtures. All right, so we're just gonna mix these 2 powders together or into the egg mix, the liquid. There we go. So now I'm just gonna mix these both with a glass stir rod just to keep it even, and because this bowl right here is contaminated by just the very fact I've used this bowl before for chemistry, so I don't really want to use a kitchen utensil to mix with. It means it's a little slower, but this will get the job done. And once this is all done, once this is all stirred together, that's when I'll add the sugar. And hopefully it will still mix together just fine. So about 5 to 10 minutes later of mixing, it looks pretty decent. I will say, it is weirdly thick though. I'm not used to brownies being so thick. Like it kind of, I don't know, I feel like I did something wrong, but I followed the recipe almost exactly as it should be. I did add 1 less egg than the recipe recommended. I saw some YouTube comments saying that I should add 1 less egg, and I listened to them. I gotta remind myself not to listen to YouTube comments. But yeah, we're basically ready to start with the first one, the normal sugar brownies. So I've got this little baking dish right here. I'm going to put some baking paper in it. There we go. Fold. Just gonna add this to the pan. There we go. Oh. Lovely. I swear brownies are supposed to like flow in. I feel like I did something wrong. I don't know what I did wrong. It should still bake the same, it just might be a bit grainy. So let's just pat that down a little bit. So I've just finished laying out the brownie mixture. I've kind of used the glass rod to flatten it out. I could use a different kitchen utensil, but I decided to use this because I'm not gonna have many options with my lead one and I want it to be fair. I just fucked up. I just remembered we didn't add the sugar. We'll just add it here. That's okay. So I got ahead of myself. I forgot to add the 1 cup of sugar. So we've got half a cup here. I'm just gonna mix an entire cup of sugar on top of the baking tray. So this is normal sugar brownies. There you go. That's a full cup. This is gonna be kind of impossible to mix in, I think, but we're just gonna go for it. Maybe that's why the brownies were so dark in color. It just needed a bit of sugar. This is gonna be the grainiest texture brownies I've ever made. I think it is working. I think we're okay. I didn't ruin it. And it's starting to look more like brownie texture too. I kind of wonder if this mistake is gonna make it look like this. Was the bad brownie? Like this is the lead one. It's like, oh, that doesn't look like a brownie. That one clearly has weird white stuff all over it. So this is actually now ready to go into the oven, and I already got it heated up. Let's chuck it in here. And we'll have to wait and see how that goes. And while that's going, I'm gonna be preparing these brownies. It's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake. If the way is hazy. Okay, while the sugar brownies, the normal sugar that is cooking in the oven, we've got to prepare our lead sugar brownies. So I have both of my attempts at making lead sugar. It's not the most pure product ever. And in fact, I think there is some tiny pieces of lead in here still. We'll just call them little special bits, I guess. So we're just gonna add this in now. And I'm gonna try to not make too much mess or powder because that would be annoying to clean. Yeah, okay. Gonna make a bit of a mess of lead. It's okay, that's why we went to the lab, because I knew this would be a mess. So that was our full cup of lead sugar in the bowl. And now it's time to mix it all together. And it just looks kind of like cookie dough, but like, I don't know, we're gonna embrace the chunks, okay? This is gonna be very chunky of a mixture, but I'm hoping that it kind of dissolves in the brownies, and it will maybe melt in the oven to mix in better. Yeah. Okay, so far I have a feeling it's not gonna pass the looks test. I kinda wanna do a smell test real quick of just this one. Just to smell if there's any different. It's basically got like no smell at all to it. Maybe a little bit acidic, like the acetic acid has left a bit of a smell to it. But yeah, right now, in case you're wondering about the actual toxicity of lead, so that moment right there when like lead dust was kind of entering the air, I'm not really too worried about it or concerned about it. The main concern is the fact that it's in the environment now, so I'm gonna have to clean this place up, because if I, let's say, breathe in a small amount of dust, I'm not gonna notice anything for a once-off time like that, if it's a very small amount. But when lead exposure gets problematic is when you start building lead pipes that carry your water supply, or you get toxic lead in dams and stuff like that, or you accidentally ingest it from like house paint. If you're ingesting it, that's a no-no. If you're drinking it, that's also a no-no. But because it's entered my environment, if I don't clean this off, then over the coming weeks and months, if I just leave the lead dust in this room without wiping it, then yeah, I'm gonna get a slow, small exposure over a long period of time, and my body won't have the time to get rid of the lead because it will be constantly receiving it as well from my environment. One tiny silly experiment like this isn't gonna be problematic as long as I don't eat it. So, yeah. Oh man, this is not looking like brownies. It does not fit. It does not pass the test. Maybe we could do a blind smell test. I'm gonna have to use a blindfold to try the smell test because otherwise I'm gonna immediately know what one is what just based on the way it looks. This is partly my fault though because I'm using very impure lead. Maybe we could do another test in the future that's a bit more fair. Okay. Immediately, at first glance, it looks like I'm pouring a bunch of gravel. It doesn't smell that bad though. Like it just smells like cocoa, but like with a weird like tang to it. I don't know. It looks weirdly appetizing, but also like gravel at the same time, like with some mud in it. I feel like I've done multiple cardinal sins in this video for baking. It's solid. It's like it's already completely solid. Okay, let's put it in the oven. And turn it on for 30, maybe 25 minutes at 180 degrees. Okay, same settings as before in the other oven. Okay, the brownies are done. And I've set up this little table here so we can kind of compare them a bit easier. So this is the two brownies. You can see this one's definitely darker. This is the lead, and this is the normal sugar one. So it does not pass the visual inspection. I will say it passes the bake test. Like it actually, I think that baked. I think that baked pretty well. Turns out we did mess up the cocoa powder. I went back over my recipe and realized I accidentally added, I think 3/4 cups of cocoa instead of 1/3 of a cup. So it's like way too much cocoa was added to both of these things, but at least it's even. And so I think they sort of baked okay. Okay, well the normal sugar one feels normal, which is a good sign, even though I kind of fucked up the recipe. I'm just gonna cut a little bit out so that we can use it for the smell test. Let me just extract it. It's all oily underneath, gross. That's all right. Okay, it's kind of falling apart because we added way too much powder to it. It's just a very dry brownie, I guess. It's fine, it's fine. It's just a dry powdered brownie. Now for the lead one, I guess we'll cut over here where it's a bit thicker. It goes through a lot easier, I don't know. I don't know if it does pass the baking test. I think it's weirdly liquidy, even though it was more solid when we mixed it in at the beginning. So we're gonna do a smell test now, and I've got my cameraman to mix these around when I'm not looking. Now I'm gonna touch them to find out where they are, but I'll wash my hand after. I feel something. Okay, so there's a brownie here. I don't want to feel it too much, but here it is, okay. Oh, I just want to smell cocoa. I'm guessing that's a normal brownie. Like, I don't smell anything. It just smells like, it's kind of, it doesn't have much of a scent. No, it doesn't smell like anything. Okay, well, just in case it's lead, I don't want to like breathe it in. So I'll move that, and now the next one's over here, is it? Okay. Oh. It smells like a brownie, but it's like it's off. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, something feels wrong about it. I don't know. I don't like that one as much. It's like someone baked it wrong. No, there's something wrong with this one. There's something wrong with that one. It smells acidic, I think. I think it might be the vinegar. Am I right? Wait, what? Wait, I was wrong? Wait. Oh, that's terrible. That's bad. So it passed the smell test. What was wrong with this one? That smells weird. No, now it smells acidic. Can you do it again? I want to do it again now. Maybe I didn't get my nose deep in there enough. Same thing, like over here somewhere. Okay. Okay. Right up and close. I think I smell a little bit of vinegar in there. I'm not certain. This one doesn't smell acidic. But you wouldn't be able to tell. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell that, like, this is an incorrect brownie. Like, it's just, I just know that it should be a little bit acidic, but it's barely there. Oh, barely. If I, like, take a big sniff, then I can smell this one's vinegary. You got it? Yeah, okay. Okay. I got it right that time, but, like, you really have to get in there, though. Okay, now time for the taste test. Yeah, no, we're gonna throw these in the bin. Oh, actually, I can't throw this one in the bin. That's heavy metal. I can throw that one in the bin. They don't pass two tests, but they do pass the smell test, which is weird. Which makes me feel like it would pass the bake test if it wasn't chunky. If it wasn't so chunky, it would probably pass the bake test properly. And then the looks would also look probably pretty good too if I use like pure granular lead sugar. That is weird. That's very weird. I am now going to clean everything up and find a way to destroy this abomination legally. But yeah, thank you to all my Patreon supporters for supporting these videos for all this time. You guys are amazing. And check out videos over here that YouTube thinks you should watch. And subscribe to the channel. Wait, what brownie was it? For anyone who doesn't know, this is Ronald, a junior chef, and he is going to tell us what he thinks of my brownies. What makes you think that?
I don't know, that one's not bitten yet.